All right, so we have made it to part 3, and we're going to be focusing on macros or biomolecules. And the main ones will be carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. I just want to point out there's an overlay between each of these when you think about foods. So you have carbohydrates, you might have some beans, and that might count as both a protein and a carb. And the same goes for fats and proteins and so on and so forth. So when you are eating and you're making your meal plans, make sure that you're paying attention to that. Okay, so first is the big one, carbohydrates. And this is the one that we hear the most about. So they provide energy. They help regulate fat and protein metabolism. They help with cardiac and CNS function. So that's your central nervous system. Mainly your brain uses carbs for energy, so like that's its number one preferred way to use energy. So usually when you're tired, you're going to go for carbs. Glycogen is basically a stored carb. It's released between meals to keep your blood sugar stable, and that's just how our body maintains homeostasis. Okay, so the dietary note here is that a no or a low carb diet, that can't be sustainable. So your brain is going to start craving energy when you're on these types of diets, and then it's going to eventually backfire. So it should be anywhere between 45 and 65% of your diet. This is for healthy individuals. And then with the carbs, you want to make sure that you are getting a sufficient amount of fiber. And so the general recommendation is about 25 grams per day for women and 38 for men. So like we've discussed before, fiber is important to help you get rid of waste. All right, so here me and my girls did a little wheat versus white demonstration. And this was suggested by a registered dietitian. This is something that she does with her students. Okay, I got my kids to help me out, and we're going to do a little demonstration about white versus wheat bread. Okay, so we're here, and I have my 3 girls with me, and we're going to do a quick little explanation, or maybe like a little experiment. Yeah. And I would like to say this it's an experiment, but it's not truthfully an experiment. It's more of a demonstration. Yeah, so here we're gonna have the plain white bread. Yeah. We got this from the grocery. This is the cheapest white bread you could find. 18 grams of carbs. Fiber is 1. Protein is 4. Yeah. It is enriched bread, so it's enriched. Let's see. This is the one I normally get. So it's 1 gram of fat, 14 carbs, 2 grams of fiber, 3 grams of protein. Actually, this is not the one I get, but it's the same brand that I typically get. And this is supposed to be whole wheat, 100% whole wheat. So this is also the thin slice kind, so it is slightly different with that, but I got the second slice of each bread in there, and that's the Dave's brand bread. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, to mimic our stomach acid, we're gonna have some acid that we got at the store, which is orange juice. So that was like milk. Yeah, not milk, but this is gonna be orange juice. So Anne-Marie, do you want to pour it? Pour some orange juice in each one. More.
Poppy.
Okay. And let's pour. Penny, you want to help me pour this one?
I want to drink some soda from here.
We could drink some later.
Okay.
Orange juice does have a lot of sugar though, so we should limit how much we drink.
We haven't had orange juice in like 60 years.
This has 10 grams of sugar.
That's a lot of grams of sugar.
Yeah. Okay. So we have our wheat and our white, okay? This might get a little bit messy, but I think we'll be okay. So go ahead and Emily, grab the white bread. and put it down gently.
In the orange juice.
Yep, put it down. Okay, now turn it over.
I'll turn it over.
Okay, and then now Penny, put this down gently.
That's weird.
I guess we should have done them at the same time. Oops, but that's okay. We'll still get the same idea. Turn it over.
Turn it over. Yeah. It feels weird.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want you guys to try to pick it up. Oop.
Ew.
Well, no, we'll try to pick it up from the other side. Oh, but you're not doing it right, Anne-Marie. It keeps on breaking up. So you must not be doing it right.
No, we put it in there.
We're doing that slowly.
What about you, Penny? Well, Penny did it right.
We
Look.
picked it up and then it just fell apart.
But how come Penny could do it and you can't?
I don't know.
Because
Maybe
it's
it got
me.
too soggy.
Too soggy? But why didn't this one get too soggy? Here, put it down. Let this one stay in a little bit longer.
Don't forget to flip it after.
It must just be her that she's better at picking up bread. Do you think she's just better at picking up bread or what?
Well, that's
a
problem.
problem.
I got them just picking up the crust.
I just want
Okay.
to eat bread.
Oh.
I just want to
Okay.
eat bread.
Floppy.
So,
Why do I want to eat bread?
well, which bread are you gonna eat?
This.
Do you like that bread? You like the white bread or you like the wheat bread better?
What?
Should we like the white bread better? Watch. Look at this. Look at this. The reason why we can hold this up without it tearing apart as good as that one does is because it has a lot more
Fiber?
fibrous materials in here. It has seeds and nuts, and if it's not breaking apart so quickly, this means that it won't break up as quickly. If you think about it, it's gonna be more, Emily, shh. It's gonna be more of a stable release of sugars to your bloodstream because it's gonna take a while to break down. Whereas this bread, white bread, like pure white, even though it's enriched with more fiber, look at this. It's just deteriorated. So this is gonna give you a high, quick spike. So basically it's gonna be higher on the glycemic index than whole wheat bread would be. Okay? And yes, this eventually will break down, of course, but the rate at which it breaks down is going to be a lot slower than the rate at which this is obviously breaking down. So, with that mess, we say, do we think this is a good demonstration?
No.
No. I think it was a good one. What did we learn? We learned that this doesn't have a lot of vitamins and minerals that we want, right? Because it breaks apart too much, too easily, too fast. And that could cause our bodies to get a lot of sugar at one time.
No.
This can make our bodies have a lot of sugar at one time, whereas this is going to be more of a gradual release of sugars, which is what our body prefers, and it will help our body maintain homeostasis easier. We won't have to send a bunch of insulin out to control what's going on. All right, well, thank you very much. And that is our little demonstration.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, so as far as carbohydrates go, when you work out, it's especially necessary to have carbs. The registered dietitian was talking and said that if you're low on carbs, your tank is going to be low and you're not going to have enough energy to sustain the diet. To sustain your exercise. And so your body is going to retrieve the stored carbs, but it's going to make you tire out faster. So that means you're typically not going to be able to build up as much muscle. And we know that muscle is good at burning more of what we want to burn. So it's not a good idea to try to lose weight by cutting out carbs completely or eating very minimal. We definitely still need to keep it in our diet. Just refrain from having refined carbs. Try to do brown versus white rice and just subtle changes, and that could help. And also when you're looking at nutrition labels, you want to look and see which
carb. I mean, yes, the carbs might be more in one than the other, but which one has the most fiber paired with it? And usually you'll go for the one with the more fiber and protein. This one I definitely want to send out to y'all, but it's just comparing the simple carbs versus complex carbs. For simple carbs, that's going to be mono and disaccharides, so that's 1 or 2 sugars. Those are things that are broken down mostly already. And the complex carbs are going to be polysaccharides, which just means more than 2 sugars. So, you know, those are starches and fibers and glycogen. So those are going to be mostly broken down with bacteria. And let's see, found in whole grains, rice, leafy greens, vegetables, potatoes, corn, and peas, and beans as well. And Tiffany was talking and said that a lot of people don't realize that there is a lot of nutrients in potatoes, and to not completely skip those, keep the skins on. So definitely the stuff in the yellow, some of it we don't want to have at all, like syrups or sodas. I mean, I know I'm guilty of having an occasional soda, but the stuff on the orange side is the stuff we want to lean towards. But usually just whole foods in general across the board is what we want. So the stuff on the right in the orange column is going to keep you fuller longer. All right, this next one is lipids and fats. So the examples I've given are triglycerides, phospholipids, cholesterol. These are things that are going to be stored as long-term energy storage. This is what's stored in our fat. This helps us with insulation, hormone production, and it carries fat-soluble vitamins. So we want to aim for about 20 to 35% of this in our daily diet, and we want to limit the saturated fats to below 10% a day. So the reason for this is because it raises the LDL, which is your bad cholesterol. And if you did do the interactive activity, then this will make more sense with you. So we're going to try to consume avocados and salmon, eggs. People think that eggs are bad. They're definitely not. They're a whole protein and they're a fat. And then we want to go for just the stuff on the left side is what we want to steer towards. Now, I do have a video coming up, and it does a pretty good job of explaining the good versus bad fats. So here's the video.
Cholesterol. It can be good, it can be bad. Here's how cholesterol can be good. Cholesterol is found in all of our cells. Cells need it to keep their membranes just the right consistency. Our body also makes things with cholesterol, like steroid hormones, vitamin D, and bile. Here's how cholesterol can be bad. Cholesterol in the blood can stick to artery walls, forming plaque. This can block blood flow. Atherosclerosis is the condition where plaque narrows the space inside the artery. Multiple factors can cause plaques to rupture, like inflammation. The body's natural healing response to damaged tissue can cause clots. If the clots plug up arteries, blood cannot deliver vital oxygen. If the coronary arteries that feed the heart are blocked, this could lead to a heart attack. If the blood vessels of the brain or the carotid arteries of the neck are blocked, this could lead to a stroke. If the arteries of the leg are blocked, this could lead to peripheral artery disease. This causes painful leg cramps when walking, numbness and weakness, or foot sores that do not heal. So cholesterol can be good and bad. There are also different types of cholesterol, sometimes called good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. LDL, or low-density lipoprotein, is sometimes called bad cholesterol. It carries cholesterol that can stick to arteries, collect in the vessel lining forming plaque, and sometimes block blood flow. HDL, or high-density lipoprotein, is sometimes called good cholesterol. It takes cholesterol away from the blood and returns it to the liver. When checked, You want your LDL to be low, L for low. You want your HDL to be high, H for high. A blood test can measure the LDL, HDL, and total cholesterol. Usually, there are no visible symptoms of high cholesterol, so it is important to be periodically checked. Ways to decrease your LDL and increase your HDL include eating a heart-healthy diet low in saturated and trans fats, regular exercise and being more physically active, maintaining healthy weight, quitting smoking, medications. Medications might be recommended depending on known risk factors for cardiovascular disease, such as age and family history, among others. You may already be familiar with these guidelines for heart-healthy living. They are based on research supported by the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, NHLBI, at the National Institutes of Health, or NIH. This video was produced by Medline Plus, a trusted source of health information from the U.S. National Library of Medicine.
Okay, next up is protein. And so this is one of the macros that we hear a lot about as well. We want to aim for 10 to 35% of our diet containing protein. It supports tissue building, obviously. It aids in metabolism, immune function, and helps with wound healing. So it's also important because it really keeps you full. So if you focus on incorporating it into each meal, you can go longer between larger meals and still be satisfied. As far as proteins go, they are made with amino acids. The sequence of amino acids determines what type of protein is going to be made. So your DNA is going to have like instructions, and the DNA says, you know, make this type of protein, then the amino acids kind of are going to arrange itself in that way. And once they do, they will fold into a particular shape, and then that shape will be used to perform functions. So if you think about like a chair is a specific shape so that it could perform a function of letting you sit on it. Same type of situation with a protein. So we could eat whatever protein we want, but whatever we eat is not necessarily what we need. And so in this manner, we know that we need to get protein from multiple sources so that we can be assured that we have all of the amino acids. That brings me to my next point, which is that there are 20 amino acids, but 9 of them are essential. You could only get them from your diet. So your body can't make them. So you definitely have to make sure that you are getting these. Let's see, other aminos, those could be made with your body, but you still need them from your diet because you can't get them made as quickly as you would need them. And as far as the types of proteins, this is, I guess it's a little misleading. There are hundreds of proteins, but the two types that we're going to be kind of referring to based off of nutrition is complete protein, which means that they have all of the 9 essential amino acids, and then the incomplete. So incomplete just means that they are lacking some of those amino acids. So what you would have to do, it would be pairing 2 different things to get one whole protein. And so a popular one would be like beans and rice. And you don't necessarily have to eat those at the same time either to get like that full protein for the day. So if you have rice for breakfast and then beans for lunch, fine. Okay, so this is a little drawing I made that is referring to a protein. In picture 1, you have the whole protein, or this is what let's say this is what we're gonna eat, okay? And then the second part is a denatured protein. And all that means is that it's lost its shape. And so this can happen with your stomach acid. This can happen before you even eat it by cooking it. So like, for instance, you have a raw egg and then you have it looking a lot different after you've cooked it. You've denatured the proteins in there. And so that's okay because we will still have pieces of the protein eventually getting to us that we can rearrange. So if you're going to be eating it, this can be like an enzymatic digestion. So that's what this is kind of showing. So just breaking up. And then You have continued digestion. You see it breaking up more and more until you get to the ending result, which is amino acids. And so this is kind of the visual I'm trying to give you for the 9 essential amino acids, because we can see it in, I don't know, it's just easier for me to visualize. So you have a bunch of small amino acids. And if you turn it around, this is actually how we kind of start building proteins as well. And this is what I teach for my biology students. This is actually a little bit misleading because it doesn't exactly come back exactly this way, but we start with amino acids, and then we have this protein synthesis that occurs with some ribosomes. This is actually what was used to make the mRNA vaccines, something similar process. And then in the end, you have a final protein. Okay, this is just a slide at the end for a review. We have carbs, which you can get from bread, grains, fruit, vegetables, and so on. And then functions, they break down into glucose, and this is for energy. You got your fats and lipids, such as oils, butter, yolks, animal products, and then those help, they break into fatty acids and help production of the cell membrane and hormones. And then proteins, meat, seafood, and vegetables, nuts and seeds. And the functions are that they break down into amino acids, they build muscle, provides structure, and helps with metabolic reactions. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you, and on to the next slides if you'd like. Thank you.